Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Scenic Route Astrology. Makayla here for the Pisces lunar eclipse happening September 17th, 2024. This is a very exhausting energy field I feel like we're in right now. So if you're feeling super tired, a little bit emotional, or feel like there's a lot of, waves coming through you, waves of energy coming through you, that's going to be pretty accurate. I think a lot of us are feeling the effects of the eclipse. And like all eclipses, they're actually like full moons and new moons on steroids. So the energy is usually heightened and it's usually extra potent. Okay. Before we get into the chart, I just want to announce that I have launched my first course ever called Becoming Lunatics, and that is available on my website, which I will put the link down below. I'm running an eclipse sale right now, so all that information will be on my website. And it's a full self-paced course. It's over 6 hours of content. There is no time limit on how fast you need to complete the course. And it's a membership login and you'll have lifetime access to the course. You can also have it available for download if you'd like as well. I can just send you personally the files, but there's a membership login off of my website. And along with the course, I will be having monthly meetup groups on the first Monday of every month. So anybody who's taken the course, no matter what phase of the course you're in, whether you've just watched half of a video or one video, or you've done the whole thing, this is a monthly meetup group for all of us to come together and talk about what you're learning, what you're experiencing, and share anything that you'd like, share your personal experiences, and also, of course, ask me questions. And they could be regarded to your chart, other people's charts that you're using for the course as well. Pretty much anything to help you deepen your understanding. I am teaching it from a basic point of view. So if you're new to astrology, it does have advanced techniques in the course as a bonus. For those who want to, expand their knowledge or stretch themselves out a little bit. It's very much the way that I learned astrology, to be honest. So I became infatuated with little pieces. And although I did have structure according to my, my teachers and so forth, one of the ways that I best learned was following the things that I was most obsessed about when I began astrology, and that was the moon. Which is why when I started the Scenic Route Astrology YouTube channel, I also began with just doing the new and full moon lunations first. So it made sense that I would make a course like this. And yeah, so again, those links will be down below. I'm running an eclipse sale until the end of the year. So you can buy it at any time, or if you think it's a gift for a friend because the holidays are coming up and so forth, you can also buy a gift card off my website, and that course can be available as a gift for somebody else as well. Okay. And of course, you can email me at Makayla@scenicrouteastrology.com or find me on any of my socials, my Instagram, Facebook, and so forth, and send me a DM if you have further questions about the course. But all of the information goes into detail off my website. So that being said, let's talk about the eclipse. And I will pull up the astrology chart like always, and we will get into it. I hope everyone's feeling okay. Oops. I always do this. I hope everyone is feeling okay under this energy. I know eclipses can be quite exhausting to go through. And then here we go. Okay, there we go, vanishing. So I have the chart casted because I'm currently in Providence for 10:33 p.m. in Providence, Rhode Island. So of course you want to cast this for wherever you are in the world. I do want to say that eclipse portals are heightened energy, okay? Very, very heightened energy. And I align more so with understanding that eclipses are more so fated events, okay, than free will. So my suggestion is that, yes, it's good for you to obviously make your own decisions, um, understand where you're at, live in alignment according to your personal beliefs and your values and what you feel is a right choice for you at this time. However, remain flexible, especially under this eclipse, since there is a lot of mutable energy in the sky. There's a lot of squares in the chart. There's a kite in the chart. But essentially this eclipse is in Pisces Virgo axis, and that is a mutable axis. So you do want to remain a bit flexible and understand that things are going to shift, things are going to change. And I am looking at this eclipse as being a very potent, powerful type of set off energy for the next 6 months. It's also dipping our toes into the fact that the nodes are going to be switching very soon into Pisces and Virgo. And so this Pisces Virgo axis is going to be a major theme for the next 18 months that we're going into. And so things like our health, our wellness, okay, our daily activities, how much we're sacrificing our energy, where are we putting our energy outputs are coming up for themes, becoming more competent individuals in our crafts, making sure that we're not overly extending our energy to the point of illness or self-undoing. Okay, some of these themes are going to be coming up, right? So just want to keep those on the back burner, and as time goes on, we'll dig into this more as the lunations come up and certain transits come up. And I do plan on doing a video on the nodal switch, much like I did when the nodes went into Aries and Libra, and I put out a video about that probably like almost 18 months ago. So on top of a sense of overwhelming emotion and heightened emotion under this eclipse, very normal for you to be experiencing, or if you're seeing other people experience it as well. I want to amplify the fact that all emotions can be amplified, especially when we're dealing with a lunar eclipse conjunct Neptune, okay? Because what Neptune is going to bring out is a sense of glamorization on anything that's coming up in your personal life. Okay, so if you're falling in love, for instance, I'm not going to say that it's an incorrect point in your life to be falling in love, but we do want to know that what Neptune does is it glamorizes things, right, in our life. It makes something seem more compelling to move towards than maybe it would if we were dealing with a different type of energy, a type of energy that's not pulling us towards a feeling of unity with something that's outside of ourselves and something that's greater of ourselves. And I think that this is something that is a theme coming up under this lunation that is something to really pay attention to. Okay, so what is an eclipse, right? An eclipse is a full moon or a new moon that is next to the nodal axis, right? And the closer the nodal axis is to the moon, the more potent that eclipse tends to be. Okay, this is a pretty potent one because it's fairly close, given that Neptune is riding in the middle here. So Neptune carries energy over easier into the north node, okay? And then of course, again, it's a full moon because it's opposite the sun here down in Virgo at 25 degrees, right? So if you have any planets around 25 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, and especially Sagittarius and Gemini, you're going to be feeling this eclipse a lot more, a lot greater. But all of us are getting this somewhere in our chart anyway. So I want to go back to this glamorization revelation that might come up under the eclipse. Okay, so I find that glamour that comes with the Neptune realm, that comes with the Pisces realm, is a part of that mission of that planet's journey and that archetype's journey to, you know, propel us into feeling more at union with something. Okay. When we invite glamour into our lives, we're essentially elevating what is usually an ordinary experience in life to another level, right? We like glamour because, you know, movies signify that, right? It amplifies experience, it amplifies feeling, it amplifies feeling like we're a part of something, right? Or we're getting a heightenedness of it, right? It's almost like when you add salt to very bland food, and then all of a sudden that food, that taste gets amplified. Okay. And I really think that's what Neptune can do on some level and degree. And again, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but we can see where it can fall into that realm now. Is it right for me? Is it wrong for me? Right? Am I putting on these rose colored glasses and not seeing something or a situation for what it really is? And I'm just being enticed. You know, I'm responding to a siren of some sort in my life, and I'm being pulled into this fantasy realm because it feels really good and it's adding color, and my life feels really mundane and boring right now, right? Or am I getting closer to a feeling of oneness? Okay, a feeling of oneness with creative source and creative energy. I would say that would be the more higher expression of realizing what's going to accumulate under this full moon. But again, there's a lot of jam-packed intensity behind the backdrop under this specific chart. I feel it will be very hard for many people to navigate, you know, what are they getting glamorized by? Okay, is this fulfilling a void? And I would say on like maybe the lesser end of Neptune, the lower octave of like how Neptune would be healthily responding under this eclipse would be, you know, trying to fill a void just to fill a void. Okay, just because in those liminal spaces where, you know, we're wanting safety or connection, and these are moon themes, right? Safety or connection or belonging with something that can be exposed, right? There's an area under this lunation with the full moon and the Pisces, right, where we're wanting to become one with something that would bring us a sense of comfort and that safety and that security. And then there's also an element of loneliness being exposed as well, because we have Saturn there where there can be isolation. Okay. And also with Neptune too, there is a level degree of isolation, but it's a different sense, right? But with the Saturn there, there's like a block. There's a blockade. There's like an emotional blockade. There's a blockade of connection. There's a blockade of getting to the dream, living out the dream of some sort. Okay. And it's not like the universe is like punishing anyone for like providing a block or coming up with a confrontation of some sort. Okay. It's more so like, hold on a minute before you jump off this bridge. You know, are you sacrificing yourself for the right reasons, right? Because sacrifice and self-sacrifice, I think, has been rooted in us for so long to look like it's a means of service. But I deeply align with the fact that, you know, we can rewrite the word selfishness to mean a different thing. And this is a major theme that I think is going to be exposed when we reach Neptune in Aries very soon. And I will have a lecture coming out because I've been asked to do a lecture on Neptune Aries. I'm very excited about it. But, you know, sacrifice doesn't always mean that you have to put yourself on the back burner, right? And not put yourself first. I think we're at this point in our evolutionary journey, and the humans that are waking up right now to consciousness, or at least the humans that are leading the leading edge of consciousness, like the astrologers, the healers, the people who are working on themselves, the people who are using these tools right now, we're understanding the importance of being an individual, providing for yourself, and that the best work you can do for the humanity and the best work that you can do for all of the people that you love and you care about in your immediate life is put yourself first and to work on yourself and make yourself happy. That is essentially when you actually have enough to pour out and to give out into others. Okay. So I feel like Saturn here is so necessary because there can be illumination under this eclipse where it's really a harsh truth, because again, it's an eclipse, so it's going to be extra intense, but it's like, hold on and stop and hold on a minute, right? And where are you actually trying to fill a void of loneliness and a lack of belonging and comfort, right? Where is that showing up in your chart? And that really has to do with confronting the ego, okay? And confronting the ego is an opposition, right? It's a Libra dynamic here, because Libra and Aries axis is like confrontation with others, right? And how do we listen to others and how do we listen to ourselves? But also Aries is dealing with asserting our sense of will and our personal drive, right? And the North Node here is in Aries. So we're going to break it down. We're going to go look to the ruler of the North Node and how that is also in it's in it's talking to the moon, because the moon is in Cancer. And I mean, the moon is the ruler of this eclipse. I'm sorry. The moon is at the apex of this eclipse, right? Because it's a full moon eclipse. And Mars is in the sign of the moon. It's in Cancer, right? Which is going to be important. And it is also square the nodal axis right now. So we're going to get into that in a little bit, why that's like more so important. But really, the full moon is, the illumination of like our ego right now. And, that Pisces Virgo axis is all about sacrifice, right? And it's all about becoming more competent in, where you might be self-undoing, where you might be undoing yourself right now because of your need to be of service to others, right? Because of your need to be of service to something else, okay? And this can be a very like small revelation that you come up with, or it might be a big revelation that comes up for you, right? It depends on where you're at in your journey. But under eclipses, these things tend to be exaggerated a little bit more, and for good reason, not without good reason, but they tend to be exaggerated a little bit more, because it's like, this is where we're headed to next. Like, this is the fated energy that's coming up, and it can be an energy zap as well. Okay. So if right now you are feeling very tired, take rest, okay? Because a part of this Pisces energy is actually not to outdo yourself. And like for the last 4 days, I have literally, I wonder if many of you, if you have been feeling this way, please leave me a comment. I'd like to know how this is showing up for other people. Maybe, leave me some of the info on your chart. What's your moon sign right now? Is this hitting any of your planets in your chart? Even throw in your human design if you know it right now. But I've been having a significant energy zap, and I am having to have naps in the middle of the day, which is, usually not like me. I was even falling asleep a little bit before I got on here to record this video, but I did not want to wait anymore. I wanted to get this video out there to people and on YouTube, and I was going to do it last night, but again, I just felt myself dozing off. So the next week, the next couple of weeks, you really might feel this. You really might feel this energy, especially today on the 16th, and especially tomorrow. Okay. So it's just time to just take a little time out, give yourself some rest, because so much more of spirit comes through you when you allow yourself to give yourself the rest. And if you're having crazy dreams, you want to write them down right now, because it's your unconscious working through you. And the unconscious realm is definitely the Pisces realm and the Neptunian realm. Okay. So under this illumination, this could be a very significant turning point for humans to realize, how I can elevate my experience here on planet Earth is going to be by discovering those little dark spaces where I've been trying to fill in my voids. Okay. So another thing that can come up under this lunation is addiction, right? People's addictions can come to a height. You want to pay attention and check in on your friends that, dabble in the things that aren't good for them, right? Or escapism. Okay. And there's healthy forms of escapism, and then there's negative ones, and only you are going to really be able to recognize what is right for you. But if you decide that you need to check out tomorrow, right, for, the day and go and meditate, do that, because this illumination is magnifying that, right? And you might get some more clarity and insight around those spaces where it's okay to feel lonely sometimes, because those lonely feelings that come in, right? It's not live in loneliness forever, but sometimes those spaces, right? We have to get uncomfortable in those spaces because it does draw us deeper into ourselves. It removes layers of the ego where we might feel like the ego is actually behind the drawing for connection. It can remove all of those spaces and bring us closer to source, which is essentially bringing you closer to your personal authentic expression. Okay. Your personal authentic expression of why your soul is here, what you're here to do, certain dynamics, certain revelations around these, right? Feelings, images, all of these can come through under this eclipse. Very potent, very powerful. I just want to really hone in on the fact that I feel like glamorization is a really big theme under this lunation, and we can just have a bit more clarity if we tap into ourselves on a very deep level, where we are over glamorizing things, okay, and where we are trying to fill gaps and voids within our life, okay, and really come to terms with that, really understand where that's happening and where that's at. Jupiter is square this eclipse, Jupiter in Gemini. And so we've had Jupiter in Gemini for a few months now. So many people are seeing doubles pop up in their life. Two choices around, and this totally depends on where it's transiting in your chart. I have a few friends with the Jupiter transiting their 7th house right now, and they're conflicted and confused around relationships, and they very much are having two choices between partners, and they're different partners, and they're kind of similar in the same way, and they're kind of different in the same way, right? I personally have a dynamic where it's I've got 2 homes right now showing up for me. I've got 2 apartments, right? And I know eventually one I'm going to have to choose. Okay, but I'm experimenting with the both. And so a part of this Jupiter and Gemini transit is the experimentation of, how you are taking a leap of faith in yourself, right? And how you're building confidence and your abilities in that area of your chart, okay? Because Jupiter does want to develop some confidence here. It does want to provide new opportunities, but it is also going to require some risk involved, okay? And I do have a video on Jupiter transits in my on my YouTube channel, which I think would be very, very helpful for people to actually watch if you have not seen that. So I'll also make sure to mention that in the show notes down below. Let me see, Jupiter video, because that one is important. And Jupiter square this lunation here is very much it's a mutable square, so remaining flexible here is the key. And you might just come into a consciousness within your psyche if you're asking the right questions of yourself, and if you're allowing yourself to be a little bit more curious around your feelings. Okay, I feel like that Jupiter can really open up the parts of Virgo about ourselves where we can get very narrow, and we can get caught up in the fact of we're trying to make something perfect. Okay, and it can expose us into this eclipse, where are certain patterns of behavior tripping us up, right? Where are these patterns of behavior tripping us up, and how can we ask questions? How can I connect the dots to certain, areas of my life? And this very much could be linked to, your past, right? You're very much your ancestral past, because Neptune is conjunct the moon here, and the moon deals with our home and our lineage, sometimes our mothering archetype, but we've also got the father archetype here too. But the moon doesn't always represent the mother, but it does represent the home environment, the way that we were nurtured and so forth. But also Neptune is here, and that represents our deep ancestral loins, right? Our deep ancestral shit we're carrying up into this life now, okay? And you could break that down by, just the country that you're growing up in right now and what you're experiencing and all of that dynamic and all that drama, right? But you can go so way back, right? And it depends on how deep you can go in your consciousness. How deep can you go in your meditative state right now, right? How are these patterns? How are these connections? How are these beliefs, also being on the backdrop here of like, what you view as a way to find connection and belonging and what you don't, okay? At the same time, we also have Mars square the nodal axis, right? And so, like I said earlier, too, Mars is responding to the moon, okay? Mars is in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. And whatever sign the moon is in, our emotional body is going to have an instinctual reaction to that Mars in Cancer. Okay. Mars in Cancer is very much, we have this transit up until like April of next year, because it goes all the way into Leo and then it retrogrades back into Cancer and then it goes forward again. Okay. So we're going to be dealing with Mars in Cancer for quite a bit. And it's so important to understand that this is a very emotional and reactive planet right now. Okay. So people's emotions, when they become heightened on this eclipse, they want to take action and they want to react according to their emotional state and their emotional conditioning and their emotional well-being, right? This is why emotional maturity and understanding our emotions to me is such an important part of my evolutionary astrology practice, because even me as an emotional human, has had to learn this, right? There is so much power in the present moment. Okay. But under an eclipse energy, and where people can feel very victimized, okay, under this eclipse energy, their emotional reactions to certain things could be aggressive. It could be a little out of the blue for us, like, because the eclipse is just like, it's just an explosive kind of illumination, right? It can be like very much like out of control, full moon type of energy, like revelations, like things being seen for what they are and so forth, or not being seen for what they are, because again, it depends what kind of lens you're looking through. But to me, Mars square the nodes here, and the North Node being, the way that move forward is, you really want to take action when it comes to securing your own safety and security, and developing that autonomy over your emotions, but also knowing that what is the appropriate way to not react, right? There's a maturity aspect under here, but it's also a desire on a deeper layer to go in a new direction when it comes to developing your self-identity, okay? Because when we talk about astrology, this is really about you, right? This is really about how does this chart apply to you in the here and now, in your personal astrology chart and where you're here and now, right? So because this illumination to me is like bridging, it's about illuminating where the gaps are between our loneliness, right? And our like need to like feel connected to something more beautiful, more greater and less ordinary. And then also feeling like the mundane world can be very ordinary and lonely in itself. This Mars square the nodes is like, where can I go in a new direction in my self-identity and my relationship to this, right? How can I take myself a little bit out of my comfort zone, right? To tap into maybe my own creativity, maybe my own sort of self-expression, right? Maybe I can develop a deeper connection to source myself, right? Maybe I don't need to live in the ebbs and flows of somebody else's creative expression, but I can begin to develop my own self-identity in a deeper and stronger level, so I can create something of my own, right? I can take ownership over my own or my own, self-expression and so forth, right? So, and sometimes we are fearful of like doing that for ourselves. Sometimes, we feel like this creativeness behind our potential, but, authentic expression can be hard, right? Like, what will people think? Will I be judged and so forth? But I would go to say, like, a part of the South Node over here, and especially with the ruler being in Libra over here, opposite the Chiron, right? So you can see Mars is also square the South Node. The South Node ruler is Libra. Libra has to do with our values and our relationships to ourselves and to other people. And it's opposite Chiron, which can be, a wounded type of energy. It's about releasing our relationship to the values that aren't serving us anymore. Okay. So if like an individual is somebody who doesn't have value over what their artistic creative expression might be, for instance, then that's something that the South Node Libra is like, you can let go of this. You can release this, right? This comes from, past life conditioning that, maybe you weren't, maybe you got second place in an art competition or something, and you're remembering this now, right? It's coming back from the ancestral loins. Like, you're remembering where like you had this amazing idea, but because of like whatever type of society you lived in at the time, it wasn't recognized, right? It wasn't recognized yet. Society wasn't ready for you yet, but it's ready for you now. Okay. And this like Venus opposite Chiron here can definitely be triggering. It can definitely, and especially because Eris is over there conjunct Chiron, but we've been dealing with that stuff for a long time. A part of asserting our own values now is definitely going to be triggering and new for other people to experience. But ultimately, this is something I teach in my spiritual coaching, is like, you do not owe anybody anything, and they don't owe you anything either. And this, again, I'm going to reiterate, your personal journey, your time to embrace some levels of selfishness, not where you trample over other people, but when you really put yourself first. Okay. Come 2027, we're going to be in a very individualized state of consciousness, because our solar plexus is essentially going under a mutation, and we are leaving tribal consciousness, and a lot of people are going to start to feel the pull, and if you're not already feeling it now and not even understand why, but it's going to be pulled towards more individual self-expression and providing for oneself and living accordance to oneself. Okay, it's not the bargaining phase anymore, like, what can you do for me and I can do for you. All of that is going to be eradicated, and it's not going to exist anymore. So it's very important to start to work on the things that are of value to you and make you happy. And you can look here, the South Node is with Juno. So a lot of our partnerships are still ending. Okay. One of the things that I had talked about in the nodal video for Libra and Aries 18 months ago was relationships right now are going to change for everybody. And a lot of us were going to experience some type of breakup, and I think one of the biggest breakups and the hardest breakups that many individuals have been experiencing and going through is a breakup with a version of themselves. Okay. And a death to a certain parts of your ego that have kept you safe. And I think this is linked to this Mars here. They've kept you safe for a very long time, but they're not a part of the evolution and the process anymore. And then they can hinder you. They can hinder your growth. Okay. They can provide a block. Okay. With your growth. And that can be very painful, right? But that's a kind of like a part of that Mars going through the Cancer axis, is like initiating going in a new direction when it comes to self-identity formation. right? When it comes to connecting to yourself and who you are separate from other individuals. It's time to reclaim it, right? That's what Mars really is about, self-assertion and the power of your self-will, not to trample and hurt on other people. Of course, like that will always just lead to, you could just follow the train there, that will just lead to more bad, right? But doing it for yourself and gaining the spiritual tools of how to do that. And if you don't know what that looks like, please, I invite you to, book a 15-minute call with me and see how I can help you. Because for many people, they're like, okay, Makayla, I want to be able to do that. I want to assert myself. I know it's going to trigger other people in my life, family, partner, children, whatever it may be. What are the right ways to go about this, right? What are the spiritual, like foundational laws, at least, to go about this in a gentle way where I'm validating and expressing myself, but not hurting other people along the way. Okay. And I can't guarantee you that you like won't hurt other people, but you like emotionally, like some people have trouble when we change and we become more independent and assert ourselves, on that's meant for us. But you're also helping other people along their journey, and eventually they will catch up. Not everyone in this current lifetime that your friends, your family, whatever, not all of them are meant to elevate. Not all of them are meant to elevate their consciousness in this lifetime. About 1/3 of humans are going to. 1/3 of humans are going to be on like the fence of it, of like, do I not? And then the last 1/3 are going to be completely rejecting it and not want to, right? But again, you can't, once you see something for what it is, you can't unsee it. And I think that's a lot of what this illumination, this full moon illumination, is going to do for us, is like it's going to illuminate something that you needed to see about yourself, really. And then you can't see it, and it's really hard to go back. And even though you wish you could go back, you can't go back, right? It's illuminated. The eclipse has revealed it for you. Okay. And it's helping you create the necessary steps to move forward, right, in the next chapter of your life. And a lot of this too is connected because there's a yod forming. So Venus is forming a yod to the moon and Neptune over here in Pisces. And on the other end, we have Uranus over here, right? In conjunction as well to Venus over here, right? So Uranus and Taurus. The yod in evolutionary astrology represents our essential needs. So there is a process right now of people's essential needs being shifted. And again, because the moon here is a Neptune, it's revealing our emotional connection to something that we put on a pedestal: person, place, thing, object, desire, goal, whatever it may be, put on a pedestal. And it's talking to the Uranus and Taurus, which is shifting up our values. And Taurus is co-ruled by Venus, right? By Libra, with Venus and rulership over here, very comfortable in Libra. And it's like, okay, are your values shifting? Most likely they are. Most likely they are shifting, and you're wanting something else. And 4 when I just looked at the clock saying that. Okay. And a part of that process is coming under illumination for many people. And you know what? The last thing I do want to point out under this lunation is that there's a kite forming as well. So the kite is linked from Pluto at the last degrees, 29 degrees in Capricorn, to the moon Neptune at Pisces. Okay. And the Uranus in Taurus at 27 Taurus. Okay. And then, so the apex, right, the kite begins with the moon right here. We've got the sextile, the Uranus, the Neptune. Others on the other side, it's Pluto to Neptune. And at the bottom of the chart is that Virgo sun at 25. And just so you know, every time a planet now hits that 25 degrees Virgo, because Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto aren't going anywhere really for a few months, right? They're all kind of hibernating on those degrees, right? Because they move slow. They're the outer planets. They move really, really slow. They're going to be there for a while. Every time we have a planet now hit that 25-ish mark of Virgo, it is going to hit that eclipse point that we're having tomorrow. Okay, so it's another layer unfolding, and it begins with Mercury. Mercury will start first, right? Another layer, another layer, another layer of the themes that are happening this week. So you really want to know, pay attention. You don't have to like know everything and like, oh, I figured it out. But you really want to pay attention this week to what's coming up, because Mercury is going to go through there, and Mars is going to go through there, and the moon's going to hit through there. Okay. And we'll have, repeating themes come up when those planets hit that degree point of the eclipse. Okay. But really, the kite here is when the kite, in essence, represents Neptune, right? As an aspect, as an astrological aspect, it represents Neptune energy. So it represents that elevated, higher consciousness type of energy itself, right? So this lunation is asking a lot of people to transcend, okay? Transcend energy, okay? Reveal your authentic expression, give your body a break, give your ego a break, okay? Give your like ego that's amazing and needed here for so many things. Give it a break. Spend some time to honor spirit, and spend some time to immerse yourself in a separate realm of who you are, right? Your soul's consciousness, right? That takes meditation, that takes time. I will tell you, the first time that I ever was really to separate my soul from my ego was in my most painful emotional state that I had had in my life. And it was from that loneliness and that depth and that longing for true connection, where I was really able to connect to spirit, like my spirit. And I forever realized after that that I am never alone. Okay. I can be alone. I can literally physically be alone, but I am never alone, because universe is always with me. It's always inside of me. I am God and goddess, just like all of you are forms of God and goddess. Okay. So these can be very ethereal things. This is a very ethereal week. You can't really put your hand on it. You can't really touch it, but it comes with sensation. It comes with connecting to your body. It comes with connecting to your intuition. It comes with listening more. Okay. Listening more, and not to just words. Okay. But to sounds, to frequencies, to the silence, to your inner worlds, and really tapping into that. Okay. When you feel tired, honoring that. When or if you feel exhausted, honoring the need to take a nap, to take a 10-minute break, to tap out, to go for a walk in nature, whatever it is, that you can just take some time. Okay. Take some time, some softness. This is a very delicate lunation. Feelings are very sensitive. They're porous. Yours and another's energy can very much immerse in one another. So you want to think about this as an illumination to purify and cleanse yourself, so that you can use glamour in an experience of a healthy way. Okay. To tap into those spaces that bring you more beauty into your life, but it's connected to spirit and to source, and not as a form of escapism or a need to fill a void. Okay. Let me stop the share. So I hoped that helped my humans. I didn't really have a plan for this. I just had the aspects out, and did a little meditation myself over the last few days, and wanted to communicate from that kind of realm. So please feel free to drop in here and share how you're feeling. I know I like to read the comments, and I know it helps other people when they can read the comments and see how this is expressing for themselves too. I just want to remind you to please check out and you are invited to join the Becoming Lunatics course that I have just launched. I'll put all those links below. If you find yourself in need of a reading, whether that human design, astrology, or both, I am available for both, and all of my offerings are on my website. So if you feel like you can utilize my experience of astrology to better help you and through spiritual coaching, I am definitely here to help you out. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe so it helps my channel grow, and share this content with anybody that you feel could benefit, or share this on any of your social media networks and so forth if you feel called to and it benefits you. So I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a good lunation and a good eclipse, and I'll see you all soon.